Three assets walked into the Great Depression: gold, cash, and real estate. Only one walked out richer. And I'll tell you right now, it isn't the one you'd guess. Because in 1929, every financial advisor in America was telling people the exact same thing they're telling you in 2026. Diversify, hold cash, buy property, trust the system. 4 years later, 9,000 banks were dead. Farmland was selling for pennies on the dollar. And the US government was literally taking gold out of people's homes. Today, gold just hit $5,595 an ounce. That's an all-time record. So before you trust your savings to the same playbook that wiped out an entire generation, you need to see what actually happened, asset by asset. And the one that survived? It's the one Wall Street still doesn't want you owning. Asset number one, cash in the bank. Let's start with the one that felt safest, cash. If you were an ordinary working family in 1929, you did exactly what your father told you to do. You worked, you saved, you put your money in the bank. That was the responsible thing. Then came October. The market crashed, and by 1933, more than 9,000 US banks had failed. 9,000. There was no FDIC yet, no insurance, no bailout. When your bank closed its doors, your money didn't go anywhere safer. It just vanished. Roughly $7 billion in deposits, and that's 1933 dollars, were wiped off the map. In today's money, you're talking close to 170 billion. Gone. From regular people. And here's what they don't teach you in school. The cash that did survive still got destroyed, because deflation cut the wages of the people who still had jobs by almost half. So even if your dollar was worth more on paper, you were earning fewer of them and owing the same debts. Cash didn't protect anyone. It punished the people who trusted it. Asset number two, real estate. Okay, so cash got crushed. Surely real estate held up, right? It's tangible. It's land. They're not making any more of it. Real estate got destroyed. Between 1929 and 1933, average home prices fell roughly 30%. In some cities, half. Farmland, which working families had been told for generations was the safest store of wealth on earth, collapsed by more than 60%. Why? Because the people who owned it couldn't afford it anymore. When you lose your job, you can't pay the mortgage. When the bank fails, the loan still exists. Somebody bought it for cents on the dollar, and now they want their money. By 1933, roughly half of all American home mortgages were in default. Half. Sheriffs were holding foreclosure auctions on the courthouse steps every single day. And this is where the wealth transfer happened. Because while millions of families were losing the homes their parents had worked their entire lives for, a small group of buyers with cash on hand were scooping up entire blocks of New York real estate, Florida coastline, and Midwest farmland for 10 cents on the dollar. Real estate didn't survive the Depression. It just changed hands. From the working class to the people who already had wealth that didn't depend on the banks. Asset number three, gold, which brings us to gold. And this is where the story gets uncomfortable, because gold didn't just survive the Great Depression. It was the only asset that came out the other side worth more than when it went in. In 1929, an ounce of gold was fixed at about $20.67. By 1934, and pay attention here, it had been revalued to $35 an ounce. That's a 69% gain in 5 years, while everything else around it was collapsing. And here's the part nobody talks about. The US government knew gold was the only thing that worked. On April 5th, 1933, President Roosevelt signed Executive Order 6102, and under that order, it became illegal for American citizens to own more than 5 ounces of gold. The penalty, up to 10 years in federal prison, a $10,000 fine, which back then was about 3 years of average wages. Citizens were ordered to turn their gold in to the Federal Reserve. They got paid $20.67 an ounce, and then, within months, the government revalued that same gold to $35. Think about what just happened there. The government took the only asset that was protecting ordinary people from the collapse and transferred its gains to itself. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's a signed federal order. You can pull it up right now, and it tells you everything you need to know. If gold hadn't worked, they wouldn't have needed to take it. Now look at where we are today. Gold just hit $5,595 an ounce in January of this year. Central banks bought roughly 1,000 tons of it last year, and they're on track to buy another 750 tons in 2026. That's not retail traders. That's the same kind of institutions that revalued gold in 1934, and they're stockpiling it, quietly. Meanwhile, the dollar has lost roughly 87% of its purchasing power since 1971. When we left the gold standard, inflation just spiked back to 3.3%. Federal interest expense is approaching $1 trillion a year, and the same advisors who told your grandparents to trust the banks in 1929 are telling you to trust the system now. Same playbook, same outcome. So when somebody asks you which asset survives a depression, you don't have to guess. The data already answered it. Cash failed. Real estate transferred. Only gold walked out richer. If this video opened your eyes even a little, hit the subscribe button, drop a comment with the one asset you trust the most right now, and share this with someone who still thinks their bank is going to protect them. Because the truth is, it never did. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not financial, investment, legal, or tax advice. Historical performance does not guarantee future results. Always do your own research and consult a licensed financial professional before making any investment decision. As always, stay focused, stay consistent, stay elite.